in church. We share truth in love. When you share truth in love, I'm not going to beat anybody up. I'm just going to share the truth in love. So I guess my focus would be just really pretty much how to control what's in you, managing your emotions, controlling what's in you. What's out here exterior, we can't have no control over, but we can control what's in us. And so it's about managing our emotions and our expectations. So I'm going to begin just letting you know the nature of our flow. Now, you know, in our business, you know, we in PPLSI, we have an amazing service. I mean, it just makes sense. Okay, we have technology that's second to none. Okay, we have phenomenal leadership, a track record of success, video testimonials, profiles, hundreds of people who have had success. Can anybody say to you, well, who's doing this and having some success? Well, just check out the profiles. You can show them out online. You can send them people mirror match who millionaire club members who are just like them, same kind of background. And with that, video testimonials, we have a 50-year history. We are actually being endorsed by attorney generals. The president of the National Chamber of Commerce, the president of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, the former president of the National Bar Association. Okay, so this business actually has created over 300 millionaire club members. It's a powerful thing. Now, you know my background already. I am a pastor. I've been a pastor for 38 years. And, you know, I'm retired from Verizon. I worked for Verizon for 28 years. I'm married to the same incredible lady, Sheila, for 49 years. Okay? And it's been a real blessing to me. And you know what? When I saw this, and I'm going to take you through a process. You know, when I saw this, it was an answer to a prayer. You know my story. Our daycare business went belly up because we had a successful daycare business for 23 years. And it went belly up because they changed the law in our state that told the parents they weren't going to be supported financially by the DSS. So that means that they had to pay unless they went to a daycare center. So guess what? Everybody left. Say everybody. Everybody left. And so our business went from making enough money to help our children to be in private school and one of my sons to college to $0. And we needed a miracle. We prayed for a miracle. Somebody gave us this information. So let me just show you my process. When I saw the information, forget it. Somebody gave me a DVD. I watched it. It was a no-brainer for me. I said, my goodness gracious, who wouldn't want a membership like this? You know, it just made sense. And then on top of that, they said they're going to compensate me for referring people. Oh, my goodness. You know, sign me up. When I saw that compensation plan, it made all the sense in the world. But I want to be real with you because sometimes we expect everybody to see it the way we saw it. So we kind of sometimes start with unrealistic expectations about what's going to happen. And so what happens when people take a look at this business, you know, they go through a process. So let me just say this. When we present people, you know, we present them with information. And, you know, people are able to exercise the greatest gift that God has given to all of us. And that is the gift of choice. They have an opportunity to choose whether they want to be a participant or not. Okay? They have to make a decision whether they want the legal plan, the identity theft plan, or the other plans that we offer or not. So when they make that decision, you know, it's a wonderful thing when they see the value. But listen, choices are made based and filtered on what they are and who they are. Let me just say this to you. The people that we present this to, whether it's a video, whether it's a Zoom that we have every night, whether it's a sit down with them, they watch this, hear this, listen to it through a filter of who they are. Because, you know, we are all products of our environment. You know, many of us maybe have blessed to have great parents and great environment around us, people who encourage us, but a lot of people don't have that. And so these challenges, you know, the majority of people are looking at through that lens. Now, here it is. When people make their decision, you know, and many people make the decision to go with this business, not because they see it, not because they understand everything. It just sounds good. They're excited. And a lot of people's decisions are based on emotion initially. Wow, really? I can have an attorney write letters and make phone calls, you know? Now, of course, there are some people who just will dismiss it. I don't need it. I'm a good person. I'm not a criminal, you know. And we don't even want to deal with that right now. But when they do that, we just say, oh goodness, oh, okay. But the people who see it, let me just say the two things. Number one, they are emotion driven. They felt good about the presentation. We did our job right. we made a great presentation. We got them to video without talking about it. Sometimes the mistake that we make, we say too much stuff beforehand. But if they saw a great presentation, you know what they're making a decision based on? It's emotion driven. You know what they have? They have hope. We market hope. How many know that when you signed up, you had hope? People see this and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I can make that mortgage payment. Maybe it's going to help me with the car note. Maybe I can have, get my kids to college. They begin to all these maybes, and it goes around your mind. While they're watching this, your eyes are wide open. And those who see it, when they jump in, is based on hope. But it's filtered through their programming and conditioning. So let me just say this to you. When people sign up and they get online, they get their membership, and they become an associate, well, now here it is. It is imperative that we move them forward to get promoted and paid as soon as possible. Because here's how people flow. They say, when people say, is this one a get rich quick scheme? Because I don't want to get in a get rich quick scheme. But guess what? They want to get rich quick. All right? Trust me. They expect to make a lot of money right away. They don't understand. The reason why? They're not personally developed. But sometimes we treat them as if they were personally developed. We treat them as, oh, wow, they should just know this. No, they don't know that. And so that's why it is critical that we get them to the first step. We want to get them to get a game plan interview. We want to walk them through their process. We want to find out what their why is. Because here's the thing about the why. The why is so important. The why is what makes them make that determination that I'm going to go forward with this. You see, when your why is big enough, when they say when your why can make you cry, you will move forward. But it's still imperative that we make sure that they are in place. So I want to say that here is where emotions kind of kick in. They signed up and based on emotions sometimes, just the hope that they had, the hope that things would be better, that they will make a lot of money. But then they have I found out that new associates have sometimes a very short shelf life. You know how people join PPLSI? And I know John Addison says, this is how they get in. I'm in. You know how to get out? I'm out. It's that simple. See, we are not anybody's bosses. It's not a job. We don't have any control over them. Their boss, they can't do that. He's dangling a paycheck. But we are showing them that they can have hope. And so what I want to talk about is that we need to get them to the place where they have a big enough why. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about a key word here, because when people quit this business, they quit because hope has been deferred. They had maybe their first Zoom, and they had their family. How many know that in your family there's a group of people called Pookie and them? Pookie and them are the ones who have been programmed and conditioned to deter you from your goal, from your dream. And sometimes, let me just say this, sometimes family is very supportive, and we want to get those people, first of all, the first 3 people we want to share one-on-one with, who they will say, wow, we just want to help you out. Those are the people we really love to deal with. But there are other people who just say whatever comes to their mind to say. They're not concerned about your excitement, your enthusiasm. They want to throw some stuff at you. So what happens is that when they hear this, if they are not engaged in any kind of personal development, if they are just programmed and conditioned, let me just say this to you. God has created all of us to be great, powerful, that sees of greatness in all of us. But guess what? We're programmed and conditioned for failure and for mediocrity. That's our programming and conditioning. And that's most of the world, because we're in a negative society, negative world. And so when people get discouraged early, guess what they want to do? They've been programmed and conditioned to quit. Now, here's where the emotion comes in. Here you are an associate. You're trying to build your business. And the first few people that you have, maybe they sign up, they're in, they're out. And now what do you think? Discouragement. How many have ever been discouraged? Come on, be real. How many have been disappointed? How many have been frustrated? Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's a fact of life. We're not saying that you shouldn't feel these things, because everybody's going to feel that. It's a feeling. We're emotional people. But here's the thing. It's not so much what happens to you. It's what happens in you. That's key. That's critical. Because what happens when you are discouraged, now what are you going to do? what are you going to do? I'm going to read a little excerpt, and this is part of our personal development because, I'm going to read about a little something about what's called emotional courage. I got this from David Byrd. He's an amazing gentleman. He wrote a book, The Language of Achievement. I love his definition of emotional courage. It says, the condition of capacity to respond to all life events with positive actions rather than negative beliefs about yourself and about your future. Think about that. The capacity to respond to life events with positive, not thoughts. Positive thoughts are great, but positive action. The question is, so now that you're disappointed, but what are you going to do about that? Are you going to wallow in that, or are you going to still move forward? So let me just say this about this: when you have those negative feelings, you start to doubt. You start to feel a way about yourself. Well, maybe this is not for me, or maybe. And do you want to line with a brand new? I got great news. This is going to get better. But these thoughts are going to come to all of our minds. But here's the thing. I want to say this: emotional courage must be developed.
Business.
None of us are born with emotional courage. That's why we all need personal development. We have to engage in an activity that will change the way we think, that will change the way we see things. You know what the Bible says? Be not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. We have to have our minds renewed. None of us would still be here today. Some of you have been here for 5 years, 10 years. You know, if you weren't engaged in personal development, you would not be here. Something would have happened that would say, well, you know what? I get this. This is not working for me. But because of personal development, you were able to move on beyond your discouragement, move on beyond the negativity that you maybe experienced. And let me just say this to you also to another point. When people get started, you ever see a rocket ship taking off from Cape Kennedy? It takes thousands and thousands of gallons of fuel just to get off the ground and get out of the gravity of the earth. Tons. When you see it go up, I mean, you can see flames and fire for miles, okay? You know why that happens? But that's what it takes. And so we, as associates, it's going to take personal development. What personal development is that fuel that helps us to get out of the gravitational pull of negativity. The gravitational pull that will discourage you, that will turn you aside. And so, see what happens when you get past the Earth's atmosphere, it gets easier. And when you get into personal development and learn how to think, and learn how to imagine, learn how to take things in and make the right decisions, the right choices, to know that this is not the end. This is one person. When people say, oh, this don't work, 5 people said no. Well, I know in New York, there's about 8 million people. And if 100 people say no, how many is left? 8 million. Which if you're not personally developed, you can reach the whole world. So what we want to say tonight, and I'm going to turn over very quickly. I have some other things I want to say, but this gentleman, believe it or not, is doing double duty tonight. He's on 2 Zooms. But I want to just say this about this gentleman. He is a person who I have known and had the privilege of knowing and loving for years. I just want to give you a little bit of his props. This gentleman is an $800,000 rinker. He is a Platinum World Council member. He's a member of the Circle of Champions. He's made over $8 million in his lifetime in his earnings. And if you want, if you want to know about him personally, he is an amazing father. I remember when he used to do on the DVDs, he would have his daughter in his arms, and he would have her everywhere he went. She was there. I've grown to know and love her too. We got a chance to meet and connect. Okay, and he's beautiful. She is beautiful. And here's the thing about him: he is real. He is authentic. I mean, I've had the opportunity to not only just to know him from seeing him on stage, but to know him as a friend. We've gotten to know each other on our trips. We have laughed together. We have experienced so many wonderful things. And his daughter and I have kind of connected. I have just adopted her, but she likes it a lot. That's my God. I don't care. We certainly enjoy it. But without further ado, let me get to they say the man, the myth, and the legend, none other than Mr. Michael Humes. Mike Humes, Zoom is yours, sir.
Sir, look, I just want to continue to take notes, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you're in such a role as you always are, and I just love to hear you speak, as you know. And obviously, we have a relationship, a friendship. You're like family, you and Mrs. Plummer. For many, many years, and you're right. Michaela has your cell phone number. She loves your jokes, right? Go figure, right? But no, she just adores you, and so do I, and that's the beauty of this business. So, look, I'm honored to be on, to see so many familiar faces, so many folks who are tuned in and who are serious and committed to building their business. It's a Sunday night, right, in the middle of the summer. And you could be anywhere. And some of us are all over the place, right? Some of us are in our homes. Some of us have different backdrops. Some are in the car. And as you mentioned, I am doing double duty. I have another Zoom going on in the slightly around the corner of my basement over here, simply because I have some new associates. So they got to see that I'm plugged in and I'm following the same system they're hearing about. That are plugged into Team Zoom as well. But it's an honor. And look, there's not much I can add, but there's quite a few things I would like to add just based off of the accolades that you shared. Long before earning any ring in this company, long before they deposit $1, let alone millions of dollars into my account, long before all of those things, I had to get started just like you. I had to go through those same steps. And the biggest step, Pastor Plummer, is I think exactly what you're talking about. It's knowing that there are folks out here, that people just like us, who are going to take a look at this business, see it for what they see it based on, how they viewing it from the lens, as you mentioned, right, of where they are. And to be quite honest, I was viewing it from the lens of where I was, not where I am today. And so, that emotional courage, if you will, that you talked about, that I already was saying in my mind before you said personal development. I was like, that was personal development, because that was the only thing that could allow me to go from the inner city of Washington, D.C., to change my mindset enough that when I met Darnell Self, I could receive him, because I didn't receive him when he initially was introduced to me by my mom. In another opportunity where he sold her a water filter, my mindset back then was, I'm getting your money back, Mom, and I'm getting whatever else he has in his pocket because he wasted your time, right? And that was truly my mindset. And so I'm so grateful for personal development. I'm grateful that God weaved that gentleman into the fabric of my destiny, because it literally led to where we are today. But it led to personal development. It led to the relationship that I've had for many years and was blessed to have with not only Elizabeth Gardner, but of course the late great John Gardner, who sold into me so many times. The first person to tell me, Mike, you're an icon. It didn't even make sense to me that someone was telling me that. But he would tell me to record myself. And I can look through this Zoom, and there are others, but John and Elizabeth Gardner played such a huge role in my life, watching how they raised Peyton, their daughter, and I mimicked that to raise Michaela, right? To Bound in the Bible, the book that he wrote. And so many things, family. I want you to understand that this business is bigger than just business. It's bigger than just finding someone who needs the service. It's bigger than finding someone who's looking to earn some extra income. And so the very person I was looking for, I realized I had to become. Right? I had to become the person I was looking for, because I wanted to recruit up. I had a coworker who had shared the service with me, and I was already delivering mail to lawyers and law firms in the Washington, D.C. area, right? That's where my route was. And I became a mailman at 21 years of age. So I started that career early, and my trajectory was good. I bought a house at 21. I started that career at 21. But the problem was retirement was like 60 or 70. I don't know what it was at that time. But 21, you do the math. It meant I was going to be working. My knees are already bad, and I'm still in my 40s, right? And that's just from pounding the pavement, playing sports, all those different things. So I knew that I couldn't maintain that lifestyle or work that 70, 80-hour work week, rain, sleet, or snow. I knew I could not handle that for 40 or 50 years of my life. I worked in a building with 400 people, so I saw what my future looked like, if that makes sense. And so what I want you to understand is I came in with that mindset. I came in not expecting or looking for this business, because I was already delivering mail to lawyers and law firms that charge a ridiculous amount of money in the Washington, D.C. area, right? The average attorney here is $333 an hour. I think nationwide it's like $247 an hour. So, I knew that I didn't believe that the service was something that was for everybody. And it wasn't until I started to plug in. It wasn't until I started hearing other folks' stories. It wasn't until I started to work on me with personal development. It wasn't until I read books by John C. Maxwell, 21 Indispensable Qualities of a Leader, or the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It wasn't until I started to understand a simple parable like Who Moved My Cheese, right? Dr. Spencer Johnson, a $10 book that helped me to earn $181,000 that following year, not because of what was on the pages, but because of how I interpreted it, right? It was that what did you call it? The emotional courage to say, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Because that's what the book asks. And so I'm just asking you, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do? What type of lifestyle would you create for yourself and your family? Right? How much would you give? Right? How much time would you be able to invest? Yesterday, I spent most of yesterday, I've been playing catch up all day because I spent more time than I anticipated out buying backpacks and school supplies for a back to school drive in the community that's taking place next Saturday. And I won't even be in town for it, but it's something that I do through my nonprofit, Fertile Ground. And so I've partnered with someone, and we're providing school supplies for hundreds and hundreds of kids. And I'm not the person that just wants to write a check. I want to be on the front lines. I like to be there because guess what? I was that kid. I was that child that didn't know where the pencils were going to come from, right? Or where some of the supplies, or had to wait and hope mama could get something from the office, right, at work that she could bring to fill that basket. Some of you know what I'm talking about. But I bring all these things up because I brought all of that into this business when I started. And it was because I started to work on me, get around the right people. I had to get around those who had my answer, and I had to get away from those who had my problem. Those who don't have the emotional courage that Pastor Plummer was talking about. And so it's key that we get locked into the system, not plugged in, get locked in immediately. You know your wants and reasons. You know your reason why. Pastor Plummer, you talked about Michaela. Right now, she's a senior in college, right? 22. She was just in Maui, hanging out with me. Probably not hanging out a lot with me in Maui. She was hanging out at 22, right? And we felt like we were college roommates in that room for a whole week. And Elizabeth Gardner saw her getting sick on that boat, right? When hanging out on the catamaran. I teased her a little bit. I took pictures as well because that's what she would do to me. But now I started all over. I'm just starting school, kindergarten, pre-K with my youngest daughter, Maya, who is, she'll be 4 in a couple months. And so if I didn't lay this foundation, family, I would not be able to be a full-time father. I wouldn't be able to do the things that we're blessed to be able to do as a result of it. So I bring it up because I want you to understand you're going to grow, you're going to change. And everyone's not going to come in the same way. You may run into the Pookie and M's, but you're also going to run into the people you highly respect who just don't see this business, and their main name may not be Pookie, right? It may be someone who you look up to. Hey, it may be someone in your household, right? It may be someone at the family reunion, right? It may be someone who you highly respect, but they don't understand that the only way you can change your life is simply by changing your mind. I hope that makes sense. And that's really what this is about. It's not about the how-tos. Look, if you want the how-tos, I saw my good friend April Hurst on this Zoom, right? Go click the link. You're going to get a welcome and a congratulations from Darnell Self. And the very first person who's going to tell you how to launch your business and start to make that list is April Hurst, right? And she congratulates you right out of the gate, right? So if you want the how-tos, there are 3 simple steps. And, of course, we have that laid out. The great thing is the system is in place. The only variable that's different is us. It's you. The only variable is different. And so we have to work on becoming the best versions of ourselves. And you're going to be amazed at what will happen in your life as you continue to plug in, right? As you make these sacrifices. There are 350 people plugged in on the Sunday night on this Zoom. I know we have about the same on another Zoom and on my phone in the other room. Think about that. You're not by yourself, right? There's thousands of people, right, who make up PPLSI that are plugged in tonight working on getting better. Just because everyone in my initial circle wasn't working on getting better, I felt different. But I felt so much better when I got a chance to see so many like-minded faces of people who were going and growing in the direction I wanted to. So write down your wants and reasons. I brought up Michaela earlier because I was mentioning her. I have a tattoo on my arm, and it's a picture of her when she was little, and it says, "My why." So the number one thing you have to focus on is your why. My why when I started, my why, your reason for getting started was my mom. I watched her work 32 years for the electric company here in the D.C. area to retire and start living out of her savings. And I resolved early on that I just didn't want that to be her story. We know we have single parents who could raise 2, 3, or 4 children. And those same 2, 3, or 4 children can't retire that single parent. And there's something wrong with that, right? That still goes on in this country. And so I just didn't want that to be my mom's story. So I literally got started just so I could create some additional income to be able to supplement her income. And obviously, everything that came about as a result of it, the friendships, the relationships, the emotional courage that I developed, as Pastor Plummer talked about it, that's what's waiting for you. So listen, I'm just one of many examples to tell you that the best is yet to come, that there's so much waiting for you. Listen, I think the 10 most dangerous words in the English language are what will other people say and what will other people think. And I said, some of them twice, so maybe it's 8 words. But the bottom line is, those are the 2 phrases. We're so concerned. That's what stopped me, from moving forward faster. Was thinking about what other people would say and what other people would think. And it wasn't until I was able to break the shackles of their thoughts that I was able to move faster. I was able to move forward. And through my faith, I was able to change a lot of lives, and we're still doing it. So I'm honored to be on this Zoom. Pastor Plummer, I know you have more to share, and I'm going to stick around because hopefully I can peek back in, if that's okay, and share a little more as well, because it's just an honor. I'm always excited and humbled as I just start scrolling through the screen, just seeing so many of my mentors, so many familiar faces, people who inspire me. I was just training, what was it, just a few months back with Letitia Randolph, so that's an honor, right, along with Edmund Hunter, and so many amazing people who make up this Zoom, and I'm honored to be able to be plugged in with it and to share. Pastor Plummer, I know you have more, so I want to go back to you, and hopefully I'll be able to chime back in as well.
Well, thank you, sir. I was going to say taking time, but you have been just through the years the best. And I want to just say before you go that let me know what kind of person you are. I can remember when I first got started my first year, and I kind of had a really kind of a great start. I came in second director a month or two, and became a bronze in another couple of months. And hey, everything was going. And so my upline support said, "Hey, you should start a briefing in New York." I said, "What? What do you mean start a briefing? I just knew." He said, "No, there's no briefing. You need to start." I said, "Oh, okay." So I started by a little briefing, and there was a handful of people, and kind of grew a little bit. But then I was wondering. I said, "You know what?" I guess my God said, "Listen, what's the chance of we get somebody from out of town?" We said, "No, we check and see." And he came back and said, "Listen, Mr. Mike Hume said he would love to come." I said, "What? Mike Hume come to my briefing? Fellow briefing? My brother, you flew in, and I mean, you knocked the ball out of the park. And guess what? After that briefing, the momentum started, and it began to grow. And so I just thank you for your sacrifice. You do so much for so many people. I just give God praise for knowing you. Love you, my brother. And I'm going to move on with what I got. Hey, listen, still around a little bit later. I'm not for you again. But anyway,
right
what
here.
You got to do.
Absolutely. I'll be right here.
All right, then. So here's the thing. I was telling you that you have to get people inoculated as soon as possible in this business. That's why you go through a game plan and you find out what their why is, how much they want to make it, how soon they want to make it, and that kind of thing. Try to get into their world. This is a business that you develop relationships. And so when you get into somebody's world like that, you find out what they really need. Because really it's not about what we need. It's about what they need. I really believe that this is people helping people with this. And we just get rewarded for helping people. The Bible says, we are blessed to be a blessing. And when we bless people, it comes back many-fold. And so I remember a gentleman that came on my brief. He was another pastor. And he signed up for the night and it makes sense. So here's what I told him. Whenever he signed up, that we have paper. Thank God, that's okay. But he signed up, and before the ink was dry, I said, "Hey, listen, do me a favor. I have a DVD, a CD called Making the Shift. Do you have a CD player in your car?" He said, "Yeah." "Play this on the way home." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." "Put it in as soon as you get in the car, start the car, put it in before you go home." He said, "Oh, okay." So he did that. Well, later on that evening, I got a phone call from him. He said, my brother, you have no idea. He said, "I am so glad you gave me that CD, and I listened to it on the way home. And when I got home, my brother was in town from Florida, California, said, 'You better go that thing? Oh, that thing don't work. What's the matter with you? You're crazy. Call him back and see if you get your money back.'" And he said to him, he said, "I just heard of him." He said, "You're a dream stealer. You're booking." I laughed, and guess what? He went on to become a director in Lickety Split. You know what? If he didn't have it, we would have knocked him out. And that's why it is imperative. Person development has to start immediately. And I know I used to have a book that I used to get. I used to have that CD. I had a book called "If You Think You Can" by T.J. Poisonton, the brother, believe it or not, of Steve Poisonton, who was an associate, who was a ringer in our company. And when he wrote that book, it was so simple and it was so plain and easy read that just got 13 principles of people who have had success. That changes people's mind. They had stories. You know, they say facts tell, but stories tell. There are stories that people need to hear. There's a gentleman in that book. Now, you can't hardly believe I couldn't believe myself, but I did the research. He was born with one leg, but he had 8 brothers and sisters. He would play ball with them like he had 2. You know, people who have missing a limb from birth, they don't miss it. They act like, hey, what? I can do this. But you know what? That young man grew, and in high school, he went out for his football team. And the coach, when he saw him out, he says, go. Well, what? Oh, him and traveling team. He said, you have one leg. You're being nervous. He says, no, it's okay, but I can play. He said, just give me a try, coach. So he tried him. He put him on the field. Guess what? He didn't only make the team, he made All-State. And he was actually drafted by the professional football team. I think it was not the National Football League, but the American Football League, and played for 3 or 4 years, one leg. And I said, this can't be. I went and looked up video clips, and when you watched him, he would take down the quarterback in a blitz with one leg. You know why? Because he believed that he could. And I want to tell everybody here today, you can if you think you can, but you need to get your mind right. And I put down a few things that I've learned in my process, a couple of little bullet points that have helped me as I move forward. And so I'm going to get them. You can just jot them down. You can kind of do your research later, but they have big meaning and impact to me. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to share with you is what I have learned in this business. You know, sometimes in this business, even when you're discouraged, even when you don't feel up to par, here's what you do. Act like you want to feel until you feel like you're acting. You got that? Act like you want to feel until you feel like you're acting. Now, and listen, I've been married for 49 years. I've had to exercise that a few times. Oh, goodness. Let me tell you something. There are times when you don't really feel, but you know what? If somebody gave you a script and said, we're going to put you in $1 million movie, we're going to pay you $1 million, learn this script. Would you learn it? Oh, my goodness, certainly you would. And would you have all of the mannerism? Yes, you would. You know, isn't it funny that in life, you could just have a big argument with your spouse, and then the phone rings, hey, how's it going? Good to hear your voice. Oh, and meanwhile, you're like, you know, because you put it on because you had to. This is a business where it's not being phony. You rise to the occasion. This is a real business. And it is critical that we have our mind right, that we have our posture right. Posture is everything. If you got an attitude that's not right, it communicates in your presentation. If you don't believe that people on the left side is the best on the planet, it will come across in your presentation. Just like, really? Really? I don't know. You look a little challenged. You look like you don't believe this yourself. That's a bad thing. So act like you want to feel, so you feel like you're acting. All right. Another scripture, and they all have practical use. I'm not going to try to preach anybody, but there's a scripture that says, forgetting those things which are behind and pressing forward to the mark. That was Paul. Paul, before he was the apostle, he used to kill believers. He used to take believers into Rome and have them killed. But guess what? One day he had an experience. And when he had that experience, he now became a believer, and now he's preaching the gospel. Can you imagine how he must have felt? Coming around and, oh, I know this is not Paul. You know, I know it's not the same guy. But guess what? He had to forget those things. Because you see, there are some things we have had in our life, some failures, some skeletons in the closet. Guess what? We all have them. But if you carry that around as dead weight, and it will hinder your future. Because you'll be thinking about it. You'll be wallowing in it. And you'll be having that self-talk like, well, I don't really maybe even deserve this. I don't know if I'm going to really succeed because after all I've done. Well, I just thank God for forgiveness. That's another point. You have to forgive people and you have to forgive yourself. All of us have had disappointments in life when people disappointed us. When people might have betrayed your trust. Oh my goodness, that's a hurting thing. And when that hurt comes, you just feel like, how could they? I cannot believe. And what happens is that what we do, we nurse it and rehearse it. We go over it, and guess what? It's like a thorn in us. And it robs us of the quality of life. And you know what? When you forgive people, and I always tell people this, forgiveness is a matter of choice. You choose to forgive. You don't have to feel it. You choose. You say, you know what? It's what it does. If what you're saying to them is that, listen, I cancel your debt. You owe me, but I cancel the debt that you owe me as a result of the injury you incurred upon me. That's what you're saying. Now, guess what? When you say it and you mean it, guess what? If you keep walking in that and now I found out, I pray for people who try to mess with me. I say, Lord, bless them. Lord, give them a good life. Give them health, God. And when you do that, guess what? After a while, it gets real. After a while, you actually, see, I found that when you act like you want to feel, you feel like you're acting, the emotion catches up with your activity. The emotion catches up with your decisions. So I want to just say about this, and I'm going to try to bring it in just a little bit, but here's the thing about what we're talking about right now, the activity, is that you have to have a discipline in your spirit. Now, I don't like the word discipline. I mean, discipline, it's a tough word. I'm going to tell you what the word discipline means, because discipline is a key to your success. We need to learn how to discipline our emotions. Discipline how we feel. Bring it in line. You can do that. Here's what discipline means. Discipline is a self-imposed standard and restrictions motivated by a desire greater than the alternatives. I need to say that again. Discipline is a self-imposed standard and restrictions motivated by desires greater than the alternatives. So think about what that means to a person who has made a decision to do something that is not easy. As a matter of fact, it's outside of their comfort zone. Many of us are starting, it was outside of our comfort zone. People say, well, I don't like to talk to people. I don't sell. I don't even talk to myself. Well, because your comfort zone is there. And your comfort zone is a part of your mind that makes you feel comfortable where you are. And your success is always going to be outside of your comfort zone. So what happens, we have to actually discipline ourselves to do the thing that we really don't feel like doing until it becomes not only a habit, but it becomes something we enjoy. Now, it may not be that you're going to love making dial after dial, but guess what? You know, listen, and here's, I'm going to go on with what the discipline is. It means that it's a decision dictated by a determined destiny. So in order for you to be disciplined, you got to have a vision. You got to have a view. You got to have a why. Because if you don't have a why, listen, you're an easy quit. You're just waiting to quit. You're just waiting for the next person to say, all right, that's it. I'm done. I'm out. But when you have a view, now your view may be to move from where you are to a home, to maybe to go from a car to an automobile, or maybe just to give more. Maybe be able to take care of your parents. I love this April Hurst, her sacrifice. She's been through a lot, but she's taking care of her mom. But in the midst of that, she's overcoming and she's having great success, her and her husband. I love to hear Fardell's testimony. He went through so much. My goodness, anybody would have thrown in the towel, but he persisted. He went beyond how he felt. He made his behaviors disciplined. Every time he trained, they go, wow. It's a wow factor. Because he has disciplined himself to do some things that many of us would never do. But guess what? Now as we're moving forward in this personal development, listen, there's some things that are a must. So is a person discovering, a disciplined person is one who has found something that is more important than the alternatives. When people tell me, oh, it's so hard to make these, it's so hard. Well, I said, well, isn't it kind of hard being broke? Isn't it kind of hard having to tell your son you cannot keep him in college because you don't have the money for the tuition? How hard is that? And when your why is big enough, let's say your mom, your why is being able to take care of your mom and dad. Well, listen, if that's your why, what would make you quit? How many no's would make you say, well, that'll be your mom and dad? No, you wouldn't because you have a big enough why. So a disciplined behavior is key to success. Because when you consider to say, listen, I would rather do this thing that's uncomfortable today. As they say, we pay now, but we can play later. So what we've decided to do with discipline is to forego the alternatives so that we can achieve a more desirable result. That's a part of our behavior. That's a part of pressing forward beyond our feelings. Okay, I'm going to say a couple other quick things in the next 5 minutes or so. Now, be careful of what you say. You know, what you say, not just to people, what you say to yourself. You know, a lot of us do a lot of negative self-talk. You may have told me about it. When you say to yourself, I don't know why in the world I gotta go to this conference. I don't know why I gotta make 50 phone calls. I don't get it. I don't know why. Well, guess what? You're talking yourself out of it. You're your worst enemy. And don't let that get to your team. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, you can't talk negative to your team members. You know what? Some things you can maybe say to an upline, close, personal friend that's been through the war with you. You can say they can help you and give you some insight. But you can't say that to a new associate. They'll say, really? Really? That bad? Oh yeah, now. Watch what you say. The Bible says the power of death and life is in the tongue. What you say, it takes on meaning. You know, our creative force, God created us in His own image. He created the world by just, those who believe it, He just spoke it into existence. So when you speak things, you are speaking things into existence. If you are married and have a bad argument and you say, well, I probably need to get a divorce. Even if you don't think about getting it, you put that in the atmosphere. Oh, maybe that's right there answer. You know, when you say things, it has a meaning. It has impact. So you have to watch what you say. Watch what comes out of your mouth. You know, the Bible even says, let the poor say I'm rich. Let the weak say I'm strong. Is God telling us to lie? No, He's not. What He's saying, you speak life. You may be poor today, but if you say I'm rich long enough, guess what? Your mind, your activities are going to come in line with what your predetermined results are. You won't be a person who's fatalist and no, that's just my fate. No. Your fate is the decisions that you make on a daily basis. That's what determines your destiny. Destiny is determined by everyday decisions that we make. So you have to choose to make the right decisions. You make the most. So we always say, marry the process. People say, marry the process, but divorce the outcome. Okay? Our process is important. Our system is key and critical. And we have great people. I thank God for our leaders. Mr. Goons being one, but right here in Team Pinnacle, we have the best of the best. Mr. Brian Brothers. I mean, I've never seen a person like, he's a juggernaut after 20 some odd years. You would think that he'd be chilling right now, saying, hey, I ain't got to do this anymore. You know, I got money. My kids will have money. My grandkids will never need another dime, never need to work. But because he loves people, because he invests, because he loves what he does. And that's what we have to get. We have to get a love and a passion for what we do. And that's the part of the process. And when you continue the process, it does get simpler. It does get easier. It turns out to even become more enjoyable. And that's the thing about it. We actually enjoy the process. And one of our processes is to come together. Whether it's on a Zoom, back before Zoom, we used to gather at Super Saturdays. We used to gather at briefings. We used to gather at conventions, and those are things you cannot miss. And nobody can miss it. The Bible verse, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together, as is the manner of some. When you come with a group of people who believe like you believe, who are doing what you're doing, there is an energy and energy that inspires you. How many of you ever went to an event, you go on your last leg, and when you came out of that event, you're like, oh my God, this is great. Oh, this is Darnell Self. Oh my goodness. It's the fact of you, this Brian Brothers, you know, this Garner, whoever it may be. Oh my God, they said something that inspired me. I'm prepared to go forward. Because you know what? Several logs will burn brightly at a campfire. If you take a log off and put it by itself, this will happen. The fire will go out. We need the flame from other people to encourage us. My goodness. And be careful who you hang around with. Who you associate with? Now, I'm not saying to ghost your friends. Okay, you just can't hang out with them. You know, when they say, come on, we're going to go to the bar, we're going to do, yeah, not tonight, I've got some other things important to do. Well, what is that? You can't even tell them to do it. You tell them you're making phone calls about your business. Oh, come on, forget about that. They'll talk you out of it. All right? But sometimes you have to tell your friends, hey, I will take you later. Sometimes the friends that you need to kind of separate yourself from. As they say, you can't change the people around you. Change the people around you. Now, please don't say Pastor Clinton said I can leave my wife or my. But please don't say that. No, stick and stay. Stay and pray. Trust God. It'll get better. Okay. You love them unconditionally. You made a vow. You made a commitment. Then I'm going to kind of wrap things up with that. We have made commitments. In order to keep our commitments, we have to follow a process. We have to follow a system that's been tried and proven, and it works. And you know what? The definition of commitment is do the thing you promised you're going to do long after the feeling you made it under has passed. Guess what? I do a lot of marriage counseling. When I'm in the office and they want to get married, they all look at each other. I got their hands over each other. And then, I tell them about the vows they're making. It's pretty serious. You say some serious stuff to her. Say, I know, I don't care. And when I ask them why they love each other, oh, because he makes me feel, she makes me feel, then we go with feelings. They're real, but you cannot base your life in relation on feelings. Those feelings will come and go. They have a roller coaster. Commitment. That means I'm going to do what I promise I'm going to do. I'm going to stand even when I don't feel it. I'm going to go to the convention. My money might be. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And there are a lot of other things I could say. I've said a lot, but I tell you this is that I really believe that we as a family, we need to really monitor what we think and how we feel. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. We got to monitor our activity. We got to monitor, because what will happen, those emotions, if they're not monitored, will take you out of the game. And I tell you, I've always learned to believe as personal development is to delay gratification. You may not be where you want to be today. You may have had some setbacks. I guess I'll tell this last story about setbacks. I don't know if Mr. Michael is still on with us, but let me just say this to you. I got a phone call one time on a cruise that my upline juggernaut had quit the business. I said, huh? Now, I couldn't get a signal on this cruise, but my phone started ringing in the safe. I said, oh, shit. I got this. I said, Mama, did you hear? Guess what? He quit. I said, no, don't say that. Here he's going. I said, can't be. Yup, it's on Facebook. But here's the thing. Emotional courage, personal development. You know what I did? As soon as we got to the next port, I called my team and said, hey, I'm sure that most of you already heard, but guess what? Did you sign up in this business for him? Or did you sign up in this business because you saw future, because you saw hope, because you saw destiny? Hey, we're going to miss him. Oh, we loved him. But guess what? He made a decision. Hey, I may not be grateful about how it happened, but guess what? Hey, let's move forward. Let's want to have a Zoom tonight. We don't want to Zoom. But we're going to have a call tonight, and we're going to get things together. We pulled things together. We wrapped up our activity, and guess what? We had one of the best months we've ever had because of an activity that was necessary. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that we got to do some shout outs, and I want to wrap things up. There's a whole lot more I can say. I don't want to leave my notes alone, but I want to just say, listen, by the grace of God, we have an amazing opportunity. But opportunity doesn't really work if you don't do if you don't do the activity. Listen, I don't care where you are right now in your business. You may not be where you want to be, but they used to say, I'm not where I used to be. I'm moving forward. As Darnell says, 1% better every day. Just 1%. You're moving forward. We're not going back. We're not going to stagnate. We're going to move forward. We're going to put so many things on the table that, talk about incentive. There's a trip that all of us can make. Some simple activity. Listen, like I said, I'm a pastor. I have 5 closings. I'm going to stop with this one. I'm closing number 3. But guys, listen, just know that I'm not the tip of the spear. I'm not the best of the best, the top of the top. But guess what? I love Legal Shield. I love PPLSI. I love the relations I've made through the years. Mr. Hughes and Mr. Hughes, I thank you so much for being here. I don't know if you have any closing remarks. If you're still here, you might be able to wrapping things up. But I thank you so much. Ms. Garner, I appreciate you. Mr. Brian Brothers, thank you so much for loving me and for caring for me and carrying me when I wasn't, when things were happening to me. I thank you for allowing me to encourage me. Listen, guys, because of just determination, with my full busy plate, I do this business, spare time, part-time, but by the grace of God, with determination, with managing my emotions, I've been able to do Performance Club for 212 months. I'm not saying that to get a pat on my back. I'm just saying I made a decision. I made a choice, and I'm sticking with it. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing me. Thank you, Ms. Garner. I'm going to turn the call back over to you so you do what you need to do. Love you guys.
Wow. Listen, I learned, oh my gosh, I learned so much tonight. But one of the things I just learned is I must be a secret pastor because I always have 3 to 5 closings, right?
Yeah,
But I don't want to know. That was a joke. But here, I mean, what amazing content. What a powerful message that everyone needs to hear because, our courage muscle gets worked out in this business, right? We get that courage muscle, and you talked a lot about that tonight, and I just think that is so powerful. So thank you so much, Pastor Plummer. Thank you so much, Mike Humes. On sharing those amazing thoughts. I've got pages and pages of notes. The chat is absolutely exploded. Um, Reverend Plummer, because of all of your comments tonight, everybody is so thankful they showed up tonight. April Horse put in here. This is why you never miss a call. And it is because you never know what's going to be on that call because we train every aspect of this business. Now, we're going to close it out here. I'm going to share our some of our let me get back to where I should be here. Some of our recognition for this week, and then I want to go back and remind everyone of what you have that's going on the next 24 hours. So first, let's go through and give a shout out to all of our new senior associates. Alicia, sorry, Madalano, Timothy Thrasher, RC and S Series, Bookkeeping and Consultants, Astrid Gonzalez, Vanita Lambert, Noelle English. Congratulations on becoming a senior associate just this past week. New managers, Christine Zednick. Congratulations, Stephen Vescu, Rosa Bosniak, Mary Green, and oh gosh, guys, I cannot read the last. Wait a minute, let me see, because the thing is over it. Is that Rona Neal? I hope so. Congratulations, Jorge Garcia, Gabrielle Potts, Tony Kelsey, and Jose Diaz. Congratulations to all of you for being a new manager and a new director. Maria Villarzo, maybe, hopefully. Hopefully, I did not butcher your name, but I could. But here's what I want to do. Let me stop sharing here. Let's give everyone the opportunity to do a quick shout out. But I do want to remind everybody before we do that. So if you do have someone you want to shout out, please raise your hand. But I want to remind everyone there is a absolute special promotion, of course, that the company has put on that ends tomorrow night. Tomorrow night at midnight, of course, as Team Pinnacle, we have a Zoom tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Make sure that you are inviting your guests, but make sure that you and your brand new people know about the bonuses that are on the table. Go out, recruit one person, get $100 in premium. That is a $200 bonus. Get $150 in premium with a new recruit. That is a $300 bonus and get $200 in premium with two recruits. That is a $400 bonus as long as you get that done by tomorrow evening. And make sure if you're recruiting people that you have placed those new recruits before that deadline. So let's go through the shout out. Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, one half a second. I forgot to say the most important thing. What is personal development? Our program is reading 10 pages a day of a great book. There's so many great books I can't go through right now, but you need to read those 10 pages and listen to 15 minutes a day of good audio. Get audible.com, whatever you got to do, make it a daily habit to pour into yourself. And guess what? You will displace all that negative stuff, and you'll be that new individual going forward. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Listen, it's your show tonight, sir. You always got the mic. Okay, I'm going to go out to Mr. Alan Dickerson. So it's your turn to shower. Yes, Coach Barbell, the power of one more. That's what Pastor Plummer just did. Alan Dickinson, go to you for the shout out. Can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me, Mr. Gardner?
I certainly can.
All right, great training tonight. You, Pastor Plummer, Mr. Hume, appreciate you guys. I'd like to give a shout out to a new associate, Mr. Eric Hillman.
Mr. Dickerson, you can. I'm sorry, you are muted again.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Eric Hillman out of Lexington, South Carolina. He came aboard about a little bit over a month ago. Came aboard and leveled up and hit the senior manager position. So he's on fire in spite of all the challenges he's got going on personally. He didn't make that an excuse. He just made it happen. So shout out to Eric Hillman.
Oh, fantastic. All right, Micah Carter, we're going to you, and then we're coming to Michelle Mullins.
All right, thank you for the opportunity, and what can I say is absolutely incredible call tonight with Pastor Plummer and the legendary Mike Hume sharing their insight, passion, and really just getting us inspired and motivated. But I wanted to send a special shout out to everybody who just leveled up, and certainly members of our association with Stephen Levesque, who just recently leveled up to manager there, of course. Special congratulations to him and his partner, Leo Brellieu, who just also leveled up senior associate and fast start qualified in his first few days. Special congratulations on him and on his way to future leader status. And of course, want to welcome some new associates. We had Barbara Uasis from Kentucky joining the Team Pinnacle, the fastest growing team in Legal Shield, prepaid legal. Also, Jerry Buckner, who actually leads on the call with us tonight. And I want to say congratulations to Arnold Green for making it here. And then also a special shout out to Rosabelle Perez from Florida, who joined our team here as well. And then also Crystal Keon from Oregon, business owner and youth member and associate. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for this call tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, Michelle, your turn, and then we're coming to April 1st.
Hi, Ms. Gardner. Great presentation, Pastor Plummer and Mr. Humes. I just want to give a shout-out, welcome my newest associate, Jerry Jordan from Columbus, Ohio. I had signed her up last week.
That's awesome. Great. All right, April Hurst, and then Biddy Boyles.
Awesome. Thank you. My name is April Hurst. I'm the woman on fire, and I'm on fire after this call tonight. So just had to say that. Absolutely incredible call tonight, you guys. But I want to congratulate Miss Beth Petticord, who is on the line tonight. She's a brand new associate. And we met at the pool in Maui. So we're excited to have her on board out of the state of South Carolina, new college graduate, really, really excited. And she's launching with Zooms tomorrow. And so she is definitely on track. Also want to congratulate Nigel Richards out of the state of California, recruited 4 people over the weekend and helped his new associate recruit their first new associate. His team did 23 recruits last month. They are crushing it. And so super, super excited. They call themselves the Young Guns. So we're excited about the Young Guns that are taking over. Back to you, Ms. Gardner.
That's phenomenal, April. All right, Biddy Boyles, go right ahead. And then Garfield, we're coming to you. And need to quickly, because we're over time, but please give the shout-outs.
So Biddy Boyles out of St. Louis, Missouri. Just want to make a big shout-out for Jeff Gamble, who is leading our team with several recruits. Last time I counted, he was at 4 or 5, and I had another one today, so he's probably around about 6. And just seeing him go, got me to the point where I had one last month, and I've already got one this month, and shooting for the PC Pro to be on track for Mexico.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to put that shout out there and to recognize his mentor, all of us, to leading us into the right way. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Garfield, coming to you, and then Precious. Go right ahead, sir. Garfield, are you there? All right, Precious, are you available?
Yes, ma'am. Amazing call tonight. I just wanted to get a chance to shout out to Solomon, who got started about a week and a half ago. Just recruited his first recruit Friday and sold a $44.90 plan. So he's about 2 sales away to fast qualifying. So I just want to give that shout out. Turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Garfield. And then Mr. Plummer, I'll come to you last, and you'll be the last one.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Just want to send a shout out to Keisha Claybrook out of Kentucky. Just got started a day ago, so by the time we get back together for our next training, she should be leveled up.
Awesome. All right, Reverend Plummer, I will send it to you, sir, and you can close us out.
All right, then I saw some people had asked about making the shift. They would love to have that. We're actually on YouTube. And if you go on YouTube, you'll look for it's an Audible, and it's the one, click on the one that's 1 hour and 13 minutes. Powerful stuff. You'll hear testimonials from Robert Kiyosaki on there and from Jim Rohn. It's a beautifully packaged thing, and the whole idea of it is making the shift from the employment to your first 7 days as an entrepreneur. Great, great. Listen to. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, so much for joining us tonight. And remember, we are all qualifying for Puerto Vallarta. That means that you need to be PC Pro, and we are all using the incentive to launch our new people. Make sure we get as much of their business in as we can by tomorrow night, and get as much of your business in as you can by tomorrow night, so that you have those bonuses coming your way, and you are locked in for that trip. So build big for tomorrow night Zoom. Mr. Corey Muhammad also just put in the chat, anyone who has new people who needs to participate in a Fast Start class, 8 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. On the applunch.com, Mr. Corey Muhammad will be doing a Fast Start class for Team Pinnacle on that link, 8 o'clock tomorrow night Eastern Time. Y'all have an amazing Sunday evening. Thank you all, and have a great night. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Night.
Thank you, Miss Gardner.
Night.
Night, everyone.